Welcome to HBCU Her Voice, a place where we celebrate the powerful voices and stories of remarkable women from historically Black colleges and universities. I'm your host, Shanadra Washington, a proud HBCU graduate myself. I'm thrilled to bring you this platform dedicated to amplifying the voice of our community. We dive into inspiring stories of resilience, success, and the incredible impact these women are making in the world. From trailblazing entrepreneurs to innovative leaders, we bring you the stories that matter, showcasing how HBCU experiences shape paths and fuel passions. We'll explore challenges, victories, and wisdom. Whether you're an HBCU alum, a student, faculty member, supporter, or simply someone who believes in the power of diverse voices, we are so glad to have you. So listen up as we share insights, celebrate achievements, and uplift our community. Together, we can inspire the next generation of leaders and ensure our voices are heard loud and clear. A grand welcome to HBCU Her Voice. A grand welcome to HBCU Her Voice. It's your fabulous host, Shanadra Washington, streaming from none other than H-Town, Houston, Texas, baby, where it goes down. I am so happy to be in the studio today. I tell you guys, this recording session, it has been also a fire start. Like, y'all really make me just want to just pack up, get on a flight, and come directly to where y'all at, because, baby, y'all been bringing the heat. I say, I found my sisters. But ain't no better feeling than that. Let me tell you something. Today is going to be no different. I'd have been all up and through this girl's business. She don't know it yet, but she going to know it when she get on here and answer these questions. So let's just let her come to the stage and do our normal drill. Tell us her name, where she's streaming from, which HBCU she's repping, and we want to hear about her HBCU story. Without any further waiting time, here she is.
Hi, Shanadra. Thank you for having me. My name is Neosho Ponder. I am snowed in Washington, D.C. I have a master's and PhD from the Mecca, Howard University, and I am so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, I'm telling you guys, I said this on the last 3 podcasts. I did not go to Howard University. I did not go to Prairie View University. But for some reason, this season, that's all we've been having. So it's just Howard University. She say the Mecca, aka the Mecca, and Prairie View. So she repping. Tell us about how you ended up at Howard. Was it always your dream school? And tell us really something that you're just so proud of, because you're a double alum, really, from that illustrious institution. Tell us about that Howard pride.
My original HBCU was Hillman. We all went to Hillman. So I'm not as young as I look. So in the 80s, late 80s, watching A Different World, I always thought A Different World was Howard. And I didn't think anything different. It's funny because I probably should have wore a Hillman t-shirt or a Hillman sweatshirt. But and when I was in middle school, I was that kid that, my dad would get money orders for me to subscribe to different magazines. And I subscribed to Ebony magazine. Ebony gave a list of the top HBCUs in the country. And number 2 was Howard. But number 1 was Southern at the time. This is like 1993. So I'm dating myself, right? So looking at that, I knew that I was sold on Howard. I don't know. Like, I felt like Hillman was Howard. So Southern was not even in the equation. And I believe at the time, number 3 was Spelman. Like number 4 was like FAMU, which, again, those are still, some of the top HBCUs in the country. But for me, I felt like Hillman was Howard. So I wanted to go to Howard. And then, long story less long, I applied to one school for undergrad, Howard University, and I got in. However, being first generation, second person, I did not know that, I didn't know really about studying for the standardized test. I had great grades, I had great community service and all the other things, but my ACT score, because being from the Midwest, I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, they went by ACT, and I took the test a lot and did not score enough to earn a full scholarship. Not having, any money, any other scholarships. I didn't know about applying to scholarships. I ended up having to go to the University of Missouri, Kansas City for undergrad. And I am glad I did. So once I finally, after looking for grad schools and deciding that I wanted a PhD at Howard, but I didn't know you had to have a master's to get a PhD in the social sciences. A lot of things I didn't know that I'm just learning as life went on. And I ended up living in DC because DC, after visiting in high school for a conference, I knew I wanted to live in DC. Favorite city, I'm a big history buff. So it was one of the main things I really love about DC is the history around it, and the opportunity to come here and live when I was 26 was great. I didn't start attending Howard for a couple of years. I applied once. I did not get in the first time. So I had to rethink my entire application process. I took a class, increased my GRE score, and had different people do my letters of recommendation. I mean, I was very strategic this time. And I got in, and I started in the fall of 2008. And I was a student at Howard from 2008 to 2015. I did my master's in mass communication and media studies. Program no longer exists, but and I did my PhD. I went right into the PhD program in 2011, and that is in communication, culture, and media, which I wanted a PhD in communication and culture, but they merged the mass comm and common culture programs at Howard for PhD. So now my degree is in comm, culture, media, and it's a great program. It's thriving. So that's how I ended up being a double alum. And during my doctoral journey, I taught. So I was a teaching,
Sure.
and that paid tuition for me. And I got a stipend. So that's how I was able to pay for my doctorate. Still took out loans to live, but yeah. So I taught for 5 years at Howard total, the 4 years through my doctorate, and a year after rather. And then in 2016, a year after I earned my PhD, I found a lump in my boob. So I had to stop teaching at Howard. I had to fight cancer real quick. And then, colleagues and mentors have been trying to encourage me to go back and teach. And I went back last spring in 2025, and I started back teaching as an adjunct at Howard. I don't have a class this semester, but I'm still an adjunct at Howard. So yeah.
I love that. And great Howard story. By the way, so we always have that segment that talks about our schools and those wonderful programs. But at the tail end of that, it was an excellent segue to exactly where I was going, because she said at the end of the PhD, like some things happened, and she said it very lightly, and it also kind of ties into something I haven't revealed yet. She has a book called God's Got Jokes, because it's kind of like a play on humor, and she actually displayed that very, very naturally, honestly, in that segment, because you said, "Oh, I had to bam bam, I found a lump and I had to bam bam fight it." That was actually like a comical play on something that's very serious, Dr. Ponder. So after the PhD, things started to unravel very quickly, because finding a lump is not anything to play with or anything to be light about, because that takes some type of action, some type of realization. Walk us through the moment that they tell us Dr. Ponder has a lump. What did that feel like? What did you kind of have to work through in your head? And tell us, after hearing that, when did you realize, like, okay, I really got to get in this thing, I got to fight it? Because sometimes after the diagnosis, there's a certain period of realization, maybe hurt, whatever it looks like. Tell us about that. But then if you can remember the moment that said, Dr. Ponder, I'm in this thing, I got to fight it, and I got to walk it out. Talk us through that transition.
Well, it's really funny, and I talk about it in a great detail in my book, because when you go through anything traumatic, I had a sorority sister who couldn't believe how much detail I remembered with stories and everything like that. And it's like, yeah, when your life stops, you don't forget anything. But really quickly, it was a Friday. I was again teaching at Howard. But that week, usually I didn't teach on Friday. So this was the day when I catch up on my DVR, because we were still into TGIT back then. And I'm on the phone with my soror. I'm a Delta. And I was telling, we were talking about doing a cleanse. Her and her husband were trying to have a baby, so they wanted to lose weight together. And I was about to start the green smoothie cleanse. And I'm just talking about that. And I adjusted my boob in a tank top. It was that simple. And when I did, it was very pronounced, and I felt it, and my heart dropped, and I had to tell my soror, like, hold on, I felt a lump in my boob just now. I need a minute. And she was like, what? are you okay? Are you sure? I said, let me check the other side. So I put her on hold and did a full, exam as well as I knew how. And I told her, I said I had to find someone else to touch it. And I it's not on the other side. So I know it's definitely, and it's very clear. And I looked at the clock and it was 5:37 p.m. And I knew my life would never be the same. And God told me, this is why you can't find a full-time job, because I have a bigger job for you. Because I was teaching at Howard University, but also I was an adjunct at Trinity Washington University, because the department chair over there was a Howard alum. So kind of pulled me almost straight from graduation to come over, because she created a new program at Trinity. And so I was shocked, confused, but then there was a peace that came over me, and I was ready to fight, and I needed someone else to touch it for sure. But that aside, God already confirmed. So now, and this is Neosho. This isn't, something that I developed. My faith, I've always been strong in my faith. I grew up Church of God in Christ, in the Midwest. So my grandfather was a minister. He was a assistant pastor of the church I grew up in. My uncle was a minister of music. Both of my godfathers were choir directors, and so I grew up in that in a strong faith-filled home, and it was already instilled in me. So that's really how I made the decision that this is what I'm going to do. And but I started laughing at myself. That's how the funny humor part came, because that's what kept me sane at times. You have to laugh to keep from crying, because, the flesh is still weak. No matter how strong your faith is, you're still human. And there's nothing wrong with that, going through all the things, whatever it is, because I don't believe that my struggle is any different from someone going through something else. It's just how it's all about how we handle it. And that I just tapped into my faith.
I love that. But for a young woman, it's a lot.
And yeah, I just turned 36. I turned 36 a month before. Yeah.
Yeah, because when I was going through the information, you just kind of replan it. Here I am, starting this other part. I'm teaching, I'm doing all these things, and I'm really kind of starting this new period in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this.
Yeah.
For me, it was heavy. It's not my experience, but like when I actually read all of this stuff, I have to somewhat take myself to what it could have been like.
Yeah.
For a person that's coming to speak to me, so that I can fuel this communication to really be a safe place. But when I thought about this, I said, well, there was a lot. There was kind of instability. Here's illness. Here, all these things.
Yeah.
Tell me, what do you think God was protecting in you, even though through some really cruel things? Because what I found, Dr. Ponder, is this.
Uh-huh.
This 2025, Lord, I said, I can't take. Hey, mm-hmm. I can't take. I don't know. Mm-hmm. This real life. This is my real life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much more I can take. I don't know. I'm learning. I'm walking this out.
Mm-hmm.
But girl, I found out that there's some stuff in me that's protecting me. Yeah. Even though some real low blows have felt real cruel. Real cruel.
Yeah.
But it was something in me, even through all of that he protected, that still is so solid today. And I can't even put words on it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when you think about that,
yeah.
And even if you don't want to share specifically what that is, but if you can just say around that about his protection, even in what seems to be so cruel and heavy.
Yeah. So the first area that I felt like was heavy, as you say, or cruel, as you say, for me, I was on some whole like, really, God, really, like this is that bull, was when my landlord of 9 years told me I had to basically get out, and she told me this on the first day of chemo. And I was like, I don't have anywhere to go. Like, I don't have family that can take me in. They love me, they pray for me, but I don't come from a family that has the means, and she knows this. She knew this then, she knows she knew my family very well, but it didn't matter. And I didn't do anything, right? There was no altercation or negative interaction that I knew of, So that was my first, no, that wasn't my first really God. Sorry. My first really God probably was when, they told me that during my fertility treatment, because I was going to freeze my egg, I froze my eggs, that they only could get 2 eggs. I done went through all this, injecting myself, going for these ultrasounds every day, and whoo, even just getting the funding, the money for it, because I didn't have any money. So just finding foundations and whatnot that would cover it because it was very expensive. And then to tell me all of that, I got 2 eggs when most people have 10 to 20 to 30 eggs. And then they asked me, did you still want to go through with the process? Why wouldn't I? It's 2. It's not none. And then that same day, I got a call that my biological father, had been in the hospital for 3 days with pneumonia, and they thought that he was going to be released that day, but his heart kept stopping. And come to find out, he became septic and he died. The day I found out I only got 2 eggs. Really? And that was the beginning of August. And then on August 23rd, all this is in 2016, everybody, just so you know. To get that phone call after sitting for 7 hours in the chemo chair to find out that now I have to find somewhere to live. I have to pack up my life. I just had a double mastectomy a month before. It was just very, it was very traumatic, but it also was just like, ooh, this that bullshit. But I'm about to pray about it and we're going to push through. I talked to my Aunt Anita. My Aunt Anita is on my biological father's side of the family. She married my uncle, his brother. And, she's an educated woman and, very successful. And she told me that, because I was like, I'm not leaving my home because I don't have anywhere to go. I'm tired all the time. This ain't, I'm not leaving. And by law, the landlord really couldn't force me to leave. I wasn't technically behind on rent or anything like that. So there was no process. And DC is very, very protective of tenants to an extent. So when my Aunt Anita said, baby, you got to go. You have to find somewhere to go because you don't want to be in a toxic environment like that. That's not good for you. You need to be somewhere where you can rest, where you can heal, and where you can fight. And when she said that, it was really God talking through her and the reminder of how he'll never leave me nor forsake me. And a couple of people had already offered to give me a place to stay, right? Another joke coming. So when I had reached out to them, their minds had changed and I no longer had a place to stay if I needed a place. And then I had to pray and, friends would come over while I slept because I slept for days during chemo. Anyone who knows anything about people who go through chemo, it's exhausting. So I slept for days at times, but I would just leave my key in a rock outside my door and people would just come in, help me. They would pack up boxes for me, clean, make me food. I had a great village. But that's when I was just like, okay, I can't stay here. It's not healthy for me. And I had nowhere to go. And I had one person who didn't have the space, but made space. Mm. And I'm telling you, really didn't have the space. One person took me in and that was my angel. And of course, in the book, I dedicated the book to him, but in the book I talk about a couple years later, he ended up passing away. And now he's my angel for real. But yeah, because I had nowhere to go. And it's just funny how life is almost full circle, but that's a whole nother part of the conversation.
Dr. Neosho Ponder, let me give you my roses here on the spot because my podcast is not this is ministry. Okay. I know it has the emblem. I know it has the emblem. I know it has a ticker. We get that. Okay. People know they're going to get this forever. The branding, whatever the branding looks like.
Amen.
They're going to get this. Okay.
That part.
I'm just saying that. And just say this. Let me offer you some roses right now on the spot. I don't miss the opportunity to do this.
Thank you.
What a resilient journey. joke or not,
Yeah.
laughter or not, pun intended or not. Let me tell you that if you don't look in that mirror every day and tell you how worthy you are,
amen,
and tell yourself how heavy this journey is,
yeah,
you're still walking, you're still showing up, looking as good as you look, sounding as good as you sound.
thank you.
If you're not doing it every day on a daily basis, sometimes triple, quadruple times a day. Now,
Amen.
if I got to pull up on you, I will, because I'm not gonna play
Amen.
with you. I ain't gonna play with you.
Amen.
Gotta play with you out there in the world. You don't get that here.
Amen. Thank you. I
But this
appreciate
ain't
that.
no everyday walk.
Yeah.
This ain't no walk that a lot of people could have survived through. This ain't that.
Yeah.
So while I am very, very grateful that you've been graced with humor to deal with some real life stuff, I want to tell you heart to heart and soul to soul, I see you.
Thank you.
I want to tell you heart to heart and soul to soul, I hear you.
I
And
appreciate
it's nothing that anybody can tell me to neglect the journey, maybe even the struggle, or maybe even the story. And that's period.
Yeah. Thank you.
Period. Because in this space, I don't care what it's called, it's designed to break down walls. It's designed for people to see. I don't care what you look like on the inside or what it may seem like you have. That you are a woman working and operating a story that you had nothing to do with.
Man, I wish more people understood that, but
Well, they're gonna get here on this podcast, okay? Because I don't know what I just told last. I don't know what the fuck doing on their podcast. I do what I do on my podcast, okay? And we represent it the way that we do. So if people could know and understand it, that doesn't mean that we take away the need to hold people accountable. That's not what Shanadra says. But Shanadra does say that if you remove the blinders and really see what folks actually deal with every day, this world will be a completely different place.
Man, preach.
Because it's never about my story and me showing up here. I wouldn't do it if it was for that. I wouldn't do it. I don't get on here to talk about my stuff and I do it intentionally to bring stories here to life that otherwise would have not been seen in this light. Okay.
Yeah.
So Dr. Neosho, I ain't playing with you. Look, I ain't gonna even look. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't gonna even play with you like that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So if you ever feel like you down and out, I need a day, you better go push play on this podcast and hear this crazy woman talking through the screen and telling you don't play with that. You don't play with this story.
I appreciate it.
You should be shouting from the moon, from what they say, the rooftops. Because you're a walking miracle.
Yep, one of my favorite songs by Anthony Brown and Group Therapy.
Yeah, I didn't know it. But I'm just saying, that's what you are. And that's what's been deposited on me to give to you. And I can't do it no other way than that way.
That's confirmation, honey. Thank you for that confirmation.
I'm just saying. Don't shoot the messenger. If you got a problem with me, take it up with him. I'm only doing the way that he told me to do it. That's the only way that I can do it. That's the only way I'm interested in doing it this season. I can only do it the way that he says do it. And that's what I will show up to do each and every time. Because the layer that you're not even putting on top of this, we're going to give you an opportunity to talk about this, that Dr. Neosho Palmer is neurodivergent.
Yeah.
Y'all, did y'all want another layer in the story?
Oh, there's like 32 layers.
Like, we know y'all can already do that. But I'm just saying, it's a whole different thing. And it was like a masking that was going on, because that wasn't even in our day and time. Neurodivergent wasn't even, that's a newer word to us.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's first off start there, because there's a whole bunch of things that are just coming about in terms of it being mainstream and people calling the thing this.
Yeah.
We didn't even have that back in the day when they were talking about that. And you said that your neurodivergence is a blessing and a curse. That's
Oh
what you
yeah.
told me. I didn't say it. You said it. Go back and look. She
Yeah.
told me that
It is.
nature is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Tell me about that blessing and the curse, and what helped you survive where logic alone wouldn't.
Um, I think something that you and your viewers and listeners should know is that, you know, women are being diagnosed at an alarming rate with several things on the spectrum. So neurodivergent, it really is just like our brains don't operate the way everyone else's, right? So I was diagnosed with moderate ADHD. Now, my diagnosis was kind of in two parts. So people always say, "Oh my God, you have a PhD? How'd you do that? How'd you get through a PhD program?" I was like, Jesus and Adderall got me through. And I talk about it in detail in the first chapter of my book. You know, I start out with the last year of my doctoral program. So I was reading O Magazine back when it was a monthly, thing, and reading O Magazine, and I was reading about this woman who was describing me, and I just had a whole breakdown. I started crying. I just couldn't believe it because I felt seen in a way that I had never felt before. From being written up for a messy desk, being punished for not, cleaning up your room or making your bed, or, being accused of things that you didn't know you were doing, being accused of saying things or even actually saying it and not knowing that that offended somebody, or, being told you talk too much and being picked on about it, or having to sit next to the teacher in class because you talk to everybody. Then you end up making friends with the teacher because the teacher likes talking to you. So things like that. My line name is Loquacious. That tells a lot, right? Well, I didn't know all this time I was masking, trying to anyway, mostly failing at it. And that I had ADHD. I have inattentive ADHD, and moderate inattentive ADHD means I need therapy and medication. So I often, I don't mind disclosing, I take 30 milligrams of Adderall to get out of bed, because the way my brain is, if I don't have 5 things to do, if I don't have that adrenaline, that stimulant to get me out of bed, I won't. And there have been times when I didn't. I just laid there, watch TV, like I'm gonna get up, just putting it off. I'm gonna get up, and I don't have enough to do in the day. So being medicated, and I've had therapists. I'm in unfortunately, the way my insurance is set up, I gotta wait to get a new therapist one day. But that was my confirmation. So people wonder, how did I get through my dissertation? Jesus and Adderall. How did I get through writing my book? God told me to write the book. He told me to stop applying for jobs. Stop applying for jobs and write your book. It's in 2021 during the pandemic. But I was like, but God, I got bills. How am I my bills? Did I ask you do what I said? And I was obedient. And sure enough, he showed up. Now he cracking jokes along the way, but he showed up and showed out because he made sure that my bills were paid. Literally, I don't know how, but they were. And I wrote my book.
I want to thank you so much for your transparency in that, because the opening to that segment was Jesus and Adderall.
That part.
No, because people, and I want to make this thing plain, because people will just say Jesus and there needs to be medication, there needs to be therapy, there needs to be a Jesus and.
Yeah.
And you said clearly in that segment, Jesus and. So that level of vulnerability, transparency, I applaud in this space.
Yeah.
And for getting we got the book for just getting up. For just getting up, Dr. Neosho Ponder. For just getting up.
Yeah.
It's nothing small.
Yeah.
It ain't nothing small. Because that was the biggest piece of the day right there. Before you could write, before you could have the thought, you just had to get up.
Yeah.
So thank you for getting up, and thank you for doing your Jesus and. because that Jesus and
Mm-hmm.
is the reason in which we see you in this sound mind, this sound heart, this
Mm-hmm.
beautiful presence right here today. So thank you for that. Now I want to make sure though we have a clean segment, Dr. Ponder, for your connection points. Give us where we can find that amazing book. Tell
Mm-hmm.
us where your podcast is located. Tell us your socials, whatever you want to put right up in here. This is the segment where we figure out how we get in touch with Dr. Neosho Ponder. So over to you for those connection points.
Please buy my book directly from me. This is what she looks like. Because a lot of people, unless if you're in the United States, and I hate that things are coming up backwards, by the way. There's a mirroring thing I should have fixed. But yeah, so the full title is God's Got Jokes: How I Used My Faith and God's Humor to Survive Breast Cancer. And my book is multimedia. So there are QR codes throughout the book. And each chapter, at the end of each chapter, there's a QR code. You scan the QR code and you can listen to music and see pictures from that chapter. Because I had this whole PhD in media and hadn't used it. So I was like, okay, I need to think of something. Came from an ADHD support group idea. Yeah, so I have QR codes throughout the book. Each chapter has its own QR code. And you can listen to music and see pictures. Buy it directly from me at my website, neoshacponder.com. It's Neosho with an O at the end. My mom pronounces it with an A, spells it with an O. My first name is a city in Southwest Missouri, so it actually comes from somewhere. but yeah, so Neosho C Ponder.com. And if you go to it even in the next couple of weeks, you'll see that I'm also struggling with fighting eviction. Because after the election, it was really hard for Black women to find jobs, and I had gotten a job, and then they really couldn't afford to keep some people, and so they outsourced my role and gave me a severance a month, and that was last June. So I've been looking for jobs, interviewing for jobs, praying something opens up, but schools had hiring freezes and things like that. So I am struggling to fight my eviction. That can give me more time in my home. This is, and I talk about it on the GoFundMe. So you please read it. And you don't have to donate to the GoFundMe. You could just share it. That's free. Sharing is free. So I didn't get to this space of being evicted by any poor decision or anything like that on my own. It really is the circumstance, the world we live in. And I have never been able to get back on my feet from having breast cancer. So I've had chemo, radiation. I had a radiation burn for a year, and I've had 9 surgeries on my chest. 9. And that's not an exaggeration. So if you go to my website, or you can follow me on Instagram. I can't do lives on Instagram unless I have 1,000 followers. So please follow me. I didn't know that. And just something they just started last August. I had to research it. My Instagram is Dr_Ponder, Ponder. That's Dr_Ponder. That's my Instagram handle. I'm also still on the Twitters. Mama name is Twitter. I'm going to call it Twitter. So my Twitter is Ponder on that. And you can email me, jokesbygod@gmail.com. So, those are my socials. I'm also on LinkedIn, Neosho C Ponder, PhD. So yeah, let's stay in touch. I probably give away more books than I should, but if I hear about a new survivor, a newly diagnosed person, I'm usually asking, can I have their address, and I'll send them a book. But these books pay my bills right now until a full-time job comes. Well, it's coming, by the way. I already claimed it. But yeah, it's not easy, and it doesn't matter where you live. If you are an educated Black woman, places, especially if you work in spaces of like partnerships or whatever, places don't want to hire because you could potentially be a liability because of the way our country is being ran these days. So I'm going to push through. I'm praying that positions open up at Howard, or positions I've recently applied for come through, but my eviction will continue. And that's my biggest thing, is that $5, $10, or just sharing with your networks. And trust me, people think that when an eviction happens, the person has somewhere to go. I have nowhere to go. And I've been here before, and I was serious then too. I have nowhere to go. The friend that took me in then is dead. Let's just say that. Okay. So, unfortunately, my family has no space for me. I can't leave DC. All my doctors are here and whatnot. So I want to stay in DC. Please help. Okay. That's about it.
Thank you so much for that segment. So if you are inclined and you're in a position to help, please help Dr. Funder.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Because life happens. And
Yeah.
one of the things I tell people, really the reason why this podcast exists is to share how life happens in ways that you don't understand they happen.
Yeah.
Because we live in really a world within worlds. And these podcasts unlock that every single day and every single time.
Mm-hmm.
So, number one, keep your faith.
Yes.
Number two, you are incredibly worthy, despite what the situation looks like.
Thank you.
And my true prayer for you is that you see roses on this side of earth.
Mm-hmm.
On this side of earth.
Yes.
It's what I speak and declare over you, Dr. Neosho C.
I appreciate that.
I thank you. No. I thank you for being here because you could have said no to this. You didn't have to complete my form. Even though, yes, you're here and this will be shared with other people, it had to take a yes in you to show up here today. And
I've been praying about my vulnerability, by the way.
And let me tell you something. I'm not going to miss the opportunity to capture that and allow it to display in a way that's natural and comfortable for anybody that's on the other side of that screen.
It's hard. It's hard. And that's why I prayed about it to push through. It's hard to go live or make a video and share, what you're going through. I live in DC. I'm in a lot of social, professional, civic, social justice circles where people are extremely successful. No one wants to talk about how much they're struggling, and I decided, again, I prayed about it and I was like, God, just give me the strength to be able to do a live or do a video or podcast. And I've had podcasts where I was bawling on there, right? But I was like, I have to stop the tears because I want people to hear me. I don't want people to, I feel like tears will evoke sympathy or something. No, I want you to hear me, so even in this conversation, like I'm fighting tears now, but I'm a Pisces. I'm a sensitive person. But
you say Pisces.
Yes, I'm a Pisces queen.
My
Google Pisces, you see me like this. It's me.
That's my number one favorite sign. I'm a Cancer, and my
you're a Cancer. Yeah. Hey, best friend. I always say Cancer.
My number one sign, and my best friend of 25 plus years is a big time Pisces. I love that girl.
And my best friend, who I acknowledge in my book, and talk about him a lot in my book. Like his phone number is on my medical ID bracelet. He's the only person that can make medical decisions for me. And we've been through life and death together. Literally, we've been best friends since we were 15. I'm 45 now. Okay, almost 46. He's 46, almost 47. He's a Cancer, and he's a true Cancer. And yeah, so I tell people every time I meet a Cancer, I was like, hey best friend, because we are best friend signs. And I was just talking to my nephew about this before we came on here. I was like, yeah, he was like, well, Auntie, who do you think you should be the person you marry? Who should be your sign you fall in love with? I was like, I probably need to marry a Virgo. That's what the stars say, but that's also, I get it. Some of my favorite people are Virgos. I said, I'm either going to marry a Virgo or a Pisces. or a Scorpio. That's probably how it's going to work.
Another water sign. It's something special about that Cancer Pisces, though. I'm here to tell you. I know,
but I want friends as Cancer.
It's nothing special about that. And I always say, I would just mess with the Aquarius people. I say, look, if you happen to be an Aquarius, happy birthday anyway. But
right.
Y'all ain't really. But ain't nothing.
That nephew is an Aquarius, and I told him, I was like,
I didn't know. Y'all, I'll tell y'all.
Aquarius are the.
See y'all gonna let us stop claiming. I tell you, I never know what's gonna fall on these podcasts, and it come right back around full circle.
Yeah,
right here and do it. But yeah, baby, ain't nothing like that Cancer Pisces friendship.
It ain't.
That's some special real deal stuff.
One day. I have another book in mind. I'll book next, but one day I'm going to write a book about me and his friendship. It deserves a book because we've been through literally life and death. Before I had cancer. So before I even got sick, like I thought our friendship had run its course and I've made peace with it. And then I get sick and I'm like, okay, I don't trust anyone else to make medical decisions for me but him. So I had to ask his husband for permission because he had to sit for 15 hours in a hospital while I was in surgery because I had a complication. You know, things like that. He had to like stay the night with me, you know, to take me to the hospital and stuff. He's the only person that can make medical decisions for me. So I thank his husband. I mean, in my book, I publicly do it, but I definitely appreciate it because he didn't have to. He could easily be like, "Nah, she gotta get her own husband." You know, I get it. You know, but yeah, it definitely is a special relationship.
It's some special stuff. I'm so happy you coined it here today because you got somebody who's standing here rooted. So that man was making medical decisions or could make medical decisions for me.
He still can.
That's how deep.
Yeah,
that's how deep that love run for old Pisces. Nobody can. Don't tell me about no Pisces because they're my people. So y'all know.
And you know, we're the 12th sign, so we have a little bit of everybody in us, right? And so Pisces, we can be diabolical. We love hard, you know. We ride or die, though. Like I've even said it, you know, in a figurative way, just in case somebody's listening. But I just be like, where are we burying the body? Let me know. You know what I'm saying? Do I got to get my all black for the trunk? Like, I mean, you know, I've had to roll up on a college campus because my best friend, same guy, you know, got into some stuff, you know, in the fraternity. I'm like, well, I'm on my way. You know, like that's the kind of friend I am.
Now y'all seen some beautiful stuff unfold here, and like I couldn't have planned it like this. I couldn't have done it like this. That's how he worked, though. And y'all have seen him work on this podcast in ways that y'all know I can never take credit for it. I'm too crazy. This crazy girl can't take credit for the stuff that unfold. I don't have enough sense for it, really, you know, the way I'm set up. But let me tell y'all something. If y'all have made it to this point in the podcast and y'all have rocked with Dr. Neosho Ponder and me, let me just tell you thank you. Because as much as you needed this podcast, girl, I did too. Ooh. I feel cleansed from this. I do.
Amen.
I feel cleansed from this. I don't know what's going on. I don't know the next, but I'm gonna run this race, girl.
Yeah.
You hear me? I'm gonna run this race.
That part. I don't know any other way to be. People like, how did faith? Like, I don't know any other way to be. I'm not built to just lie down and take it. Now, I will say that sometimes I be wanting to get up and God be like, sit down. And I still be trying to get up. And Jesus be like, this dad told you to sit down somewhere and you not. So now you stuck over here struggling.
You're going to be chastised. Period.
And I'm like, should have sat down. Lesson learned, Lord. Lesson learned. You know? I'm sorry. Like, yeah.
I want to tell you.
This is also why I can't have a podcast because because one, I don't have the attention span for the production part. Like, I'm a talent, so I need to just be on somebody else's podcast. So this is exactly why I don't have my own. People thought I would, personality wise, and also I don't have a thick skin, so my feelings are hurt.
You don't think, girl? This big old crybaby Kim over here. This big old crybaby Kim over here.
But the difference between y'all and us is that we hold it, we carry it. It's debilitating. Y'all be like, okay, I cried today, but we moving on.
Exactly. I know. If I have to cry and wipe the tears, I'm finna keep going because there's still work to be done. So you know, that's just how we operate. You know, I tell we like the mamas of the zodiac, so we know like mama got to wipe the tears and keep taking care of these babies and keep serving and doing all the things. But you be stronger than what you think. And I'll tell you, people, this podcast has changed my life. Because and I do get it because I try to be very organized and here's the point so that we don't have any. I get that, and there could be maybe a challenge with that. But if I were you, and this real like advice, if I were you, I would record 2-3 episodes, even if it ain't got no name on it.
Oh, one day I will. I sold my podcast equipment that I had that came with writing my book because I needed the money, and I had never used it. Also, you know, the way my brain works, like if I'm worried about paying my bills and worried about living and surviving, I can't be fully creative. Like some people are even more creative when they're struggling. I'm not even more creative when I'm struggling.
That's fair. And that's a powerful realization. And you can stand there and be okay in it. But
it's coming.
When the time comes,
stuff will come.
When the time comes, step into it. Because
find a co-host.
because you don't, what you don't understand is that story that you have.
Mm-hmm.
You don't understand how freeing that could be to somebody else.
Yeah.
You understand me? So that's what the stuff left. It just left. I don't have, I mean, it's not in my capacity to hold this. This is his. It goes back into the earth. So just think about it. Okay.
I'm gonna pray on it.
I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. I ain't putting no pressure on. You know, we good friends and stuff, you know. So good friends is gonna tell.
I've never met a stranger. I've never met a stranger. You know, I do that all the time. Yeah. Like sometimes I have to be like, I don't need no new friends, especially with, you know, guys trying to help. I don't need no new friends. I have enough friends, you know. But yeah, I got you though. Like I've never met a stranger. We show our good friends, and I'm gonna take that and I'm going to receive it. Yeah. And I appreciate you seeing me and seeing that in me.
Oh, I see you.
I really do.
You ain't got and then the zodiacs was aligned. Now you knew I was gonna see you. You didn't know it, but you should have you should have known that. I'm just everybody that's out there in the HBCU Her Voice Pocket. You can't tell me this wasn't no fire episode. Cause shame on you if you did. Okay, fabulous episode, fabulous guest, a warrior sitting right here.
Thank you.
I want to tell y'all, like the old folks say in church, I love you, and nothing you can do about it. And you better come on back next time to the HBCU Her Voice Podcast when we call the show and we want to hear more about you. You better come on back. I
want to share my testimony once I
ain't gonna let you live it down if I say come on back and you don't come on back. I'm a woman
of my word. That's why I'm like, I tell people all the time, I'm a Pisces. I'm a true Pisces. So you know. If I say it, it's gonna happen.
Okay, I'm just saying. Now don't be talking about, oh, let me see. That's her calling. You know how folk do. It's me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know how y'all Pisces and stuff, bro. We know y'all through and through. So let me tell y'all, we love you. We love you. We love you. We could probably go on all night. I know I could with Dr. Ponder. I know I could. I know we would have a really, really good time. But we want to be gracious of your time and bid you a healthy goodbye and tell you to come on back next time to the HBCU Her Voice Podcast, where it's really a podcast, but it's really just ministry. However you want to call it, just come on back so we can do what we do here in this place. We love you and we're out.
Amen.